Alright guys, this is going to be a series of, I would like to call them, WoW's Academy videos. So basically we're going to be going over basically the super duper small basics of how to play the game. So here we are and they're all going to be done live. So we're on the map North. It's an okay map. I like how there's a lot of island cover, that's a good thing, but it also promotes a lot of spamming. Matchmaker's obviously very generous with us with 2 carriers and low tiers, so the carrier, first thing I'm doing right now, my rocket planes, since they're the fastest, I am sending them up to spot. Looks like the ranger is providing fighters there to support his ships, but I'm going to drop my fighters instead of on top of my ships, ahead of my ships, to provide spotting for my team, so my team can immediately start shooting. And the common mistake I see with any low-tier players is that you drop your fighters above your teammates. Yes, it's okay to support your teammates later in the game, but in the game, it's best to drop them in a position where your fighters can spot for your team. Because CVs honestly provide a great amount of spotting besides destroyers. So yeah, I'm just going to fly over here and check this out. Look at that enemy DD right there, has already dropped the fighters to spot our kid. He has really decent AA though, so he'll have more than enough to handle it. Just flying around right now, trying to scout out their lines. Looks like we have an Atlanta right there. And the Olan. Actually, drop the Atlanta. This is actually AA zone. Ships want to avoid Olan Atlanta. I don't really have much of a choice because it just flew right above them. The air detectability range is really tiny. We try to make a turn here. Get off that last rocket. Probably not even going to get through. See, even at low tiers, combined AA is very strong. 2 ships just took out an entire squad. I did get a lot of spotting damage though, so I kind of know where their fleet is generally going. Looks like the seaside is going to be their weak spot. They have a huge clump of ships going there. So I'm going to launch AP bombers, try to attack and get rid of some of these cruisers right here. Looks like the ranger is going to try to go for a Cheshire. Actually, yep, there he is. It's probably a poor choice considering that. Let's see, he drops his fires. He drops his fires right there. Graph speed looks like a pretty appetizing target, so I'm just going to try to go in for it. Oh, Black Lunenburg is coming in. Be careful of that. British light cruisers have pretty ridiculous amounts of flak. Try to dodge the flak. Black clouds make you do more damage. Always click the attack button before you hit the ship so you can have the best chance of blinding a shot. There we go, we got 2 big hits on the Graf Bay. 2 citadels. And that's the pros of the Japanese line. You get to run with ships that have AP dive bomb. Planes have AP dive bomb, not bad. And they basically heavily damage enemies with the citadel. Get another hit right here. We do get another citadel, and we destroy the Graf. Fortunately with this game, there's only 1 destroyer, and we know exactly where he's at, so we're free to go around and like terrorize the enemy team right now. I'm just gonna push up my ship a little bit in order to be able to launch sorties quickly. See that the enemy, that's the Shokaku or Ranger back there. So for carriers, you would want to usually position yourself in a place where you're not going to take incoming fire, but you're going to be able to support your team by launching planes quicker. See that the Bayon and the Cheshire have more than enough firepower to easily take down this squad of dive bombers. Just going to drop the fighters there for spotting. Anyways, torpedo bombers, recommended to use them on large surface ships such as battleships, carriers. Japanese torpedo bombers are very strong. They are very flexible as well. They can turn really quickly and they do a ridiculously large amount of damage, to be honest. Well, not ridiculously, but better than what you'll have in most scenarios. Always make sure to lead your torpedoes. Ships do travel fast, and these torps aren't the fastest things in the world. friendly ranger there is looking to provide some fire support. We can get this last drop off right here, even though it means risking some of my planes. A lot of the squad might get shot down anyway, so we want to try to maximize the damage output. Alright, send that squad back. See on the map here, we have a cruiser pushing up on this island right here. So I want to try to push away from there. I think it is the enemy Edinburgh. AP dive bombers, really effective against cruisers if you can line them up. Fortunately, they are not that strong against destroyers. Rocket planes are obviously the obvious choice for that. Drop some fighters here above B. I am detected, meaning that the Edinburgh can see me. Looks like our ranger dropped fighters on him. Flak is really annoying in this game, so you want to use islands to your advantage, because Flak obviously cannot shoot through islands. This Edinburgh looks like he has AA off. Poor decision making. I would recommend turning your AA on when you're in smoke, especially if you're a cruiser. I need that added. Here we see that problem with Japanese dive bombers and all sorts of dive bombers. The RNG factor. Even if you do aim properly, you're bound to get things that happen, moments like that, where you just miss all of your moves, even though you have. I'm not gonna waste any of this ordnance because I know this ship's gonna go down. Always be alert of enemy fighters because they will be patrolling the map wherever the enemy captain calls them in, and they will eat your planes. As much as a lot of people complain that carriers have infinite reserves, your planes take a while to regenerate, and using one squad is, or a chunk of your squad is pretty ugly. Let's put it that way. Drop my fighters here to spot the enemy Fuso. Taking A fire right there. Flak is actually predictable. You can see that every 3 seconds the Fuso throws out a bunch of flak clouds. So as long as you commit to a course of it and you turn within that 3 seconds, you can actually juke the flak clouds and make sure they don't hit you properly. That's a pretty good drop. Do get 2 citadels on him, doing some severe damage. I'm going to send a squad back because we have major enemy battleship presence, and we need to send up our torpedo bombers to try to stop that. Another good thing about Japanese torpedo bombers, they have a large amount of planes, 10 planes. They are really fast compared to their American counterparts, so. And the importance of speed is not 1, to get to the battlefield quicker, and 2, to evade flak, because the faster you are, the less time you spend inside the continuous AA zone of all ships. All ships have this aura called the continuous AA zone. In that area, they will damage your planes continuously. This Monarch looks like it's not having a good time. It's getting completely destroyed right now by fires. I'm assuming it's going to repair, but it might just burn down right here. This might be a wasted drop. We'll secure that kill right there. There we go, Monarch. I want to be a little cautious right now because you can see we saw the enemy Shokaku's fighters over there. So I'm not sure if it's still hovering in the area. See the flak right there? You can dodge by just going under it. Press your left mouse and just attack them right there. This is where the A is going to get heated. Enemy fighters are above us. There's a catapult fighter, so it might hurt us a bit. Try to get another drop on this New Mexico or Nevada. Sorry. Looks like it is going to try to dodge. He's doing a pretty good job of actively maneuvering. That's one of my gripes about ships that don't actively maneuver. You can actually dodge flak. I mean, aircraft carrier attacks, it's not easy for sure. I want to try to cycle in between my planes so I don't run out of a certain amount of plane. In your inventory, you will control. You basically see that you have a certain amount of planes that you can store. So here I can, for alt, you can store 16, 17, 16 respectively. So gotta make sure you budget your planes. Okay. I chose to send my squad back because I noticed that the game's almost over. So at this point, the most important thing to do is try to get in as much damage as possible. this is a time where you would use your fighters to try to protect your friendly ship. So when the enemies are pushing your cruisers in the last minutes of the game, where spotting is sort of a bit more relevant. We're gonna go for this. Oh, there's Oland right there. We have to be careful with Oland because it will rip the planes to shreds. As you can see, I'm gonna actually turn my carrier away from it because that's gonna be a problem right there. Activate your heal. Very important tool for torpedo bombers to survive any sort of beating. Your heal. Looks like this New Mexico is just stopping right there. I was originally going to attack the Fuso, but then I realized we have a problem with the Oland. So we need to turn around and attack New Mexico instead. Enemy Oland has detected me. Means that he is probably going to start doing runs on me. So this is my last drop right here. Pressing the S key to slow down my speed of my carrier so I can get this drop on the Fuso. He is turning into my carriers. And at this point it's not worth it to farm anymore because we are getting shot at. I wish this cruiser would actually help me because there is an enemy destroyer right here just farming the crap out of me and he isn't doing anything at all to help me. Obviously that was a nice shot right there. I'm trying to tell my team to help me because this Oland will and can kill me. Kind of whiffed my shot right there. He's panicking a bit. Owen is just spamming me to death. Kind of putting my teammates to help me, but just seem more reluctant on chasing the enemy battleships, which is obviously important. Look how much flak we're getting. Let's see if we can get this drop on them. Fortunately, rocket planes on Japanese ships are not that consistent sometimes, so you get some really tiny amounts of damage. It's obviously sometimes not enough to stop an enemy destroyer. If he wants to really kill you, he will kill you just by running up on you, but the only chance of survival you have is just speed and sort of trying to continuously fly sorties again. Let's see. Dropping the fighters there, so just in case spotted, fighters will spot him. That was a whiffed shot because his detectability is so low, I can't see him until he actually turns his AA guns on, so that's the problem right there. You get a pretty decent drop on him. He's almost dead. His last drop should be able to finish him. He's shooting down a lot of my planes though. Japanese planes are fast, but they are fragile. They don't have the health pool to compete usually with other aircraft. So high tier games, this might be problematic. You have to manage your planes more wisely. But the good thing is, recharge time of the planes is rather low. So see this guy did the same thing again. He just didn't turn on his A until I was right above him, causing me to whiff that. Now I have to turn around. Sort of becomes this cat and mouse game. You get enough health to get back up. He is healing, so that's the problem right there. Suddenly Rangers coming in with some torpedo bombers. Pretty helpful. You hit the torpedoes. This Oland certainly has enough AA to hold out these sort of attacks. You can see this flak right there. Pretty strong. The highlight of the Swedish destroyers. Some ridiculous AA, but I've managed to finish him off, and there you go. So 100k damage, it's always good to break in a CV. Now, in the on the pre-air reworked CV era, carriers were RTS style, meaning like a top-down view of all your ships and so, all your planes and so on, and then you can micromanage them and so on. And it took a lot of skill, I do admit that. But I was pretty decent at them. I would easily get over 100k per game because each torpedo would do an insane amount of damage, like 10,000 damage. So if you get hit by one torpedo, it's pretty devastating. But AA was also upscaled. Certain ships were monster AA had monster AA guns and they shoot down all your planes, but the trick was timing it so you could ignore ships that had monster AA and target ships that were alone or sailing off or charging in, and just easily delete them by dropping all of your squads on them. And a lot of people say that back then it took a lot more skill, and yeah, I do agree it took a lot more skill, but the problem with that system was that CVs had a finite amount of planes, meaning you just couldn't throw infinite planes, you just eventually ran out of planes, and then you were just useless. So if you're a floating ship, your secondaries are pointless, you don't have a main armament, so you're basically free food for the enemy team. And that was the problem with the system, because look at it, if all of their ships have main guns, you can fire infinitely, your main guns infinitely over and over again. So why does a CV have to be restricted in the amount of airplanes they can throw up? That just doesn't make any sense right there. And also, people complain that today's carriers do a lot more damage, are more painful to play against, but I really do have to disagree with that, because back then, if these ships were all alone, I would be able to delete these ships easily, one by one. They'd just all be gone. I just completely wipe them. And they wouldn't even have a chance to dodge or do anything, because they would just get destroyed by different angles of torpedo bombers' attacks. So it's not that bad these days. Torpedoes these days rarely do any damage, especially at tier 10. Your torpedoes the midways torpedoes do anemic amounts of damage, at least like 2,500 per torpedo hit, and the spreads are really awkward, and yeah. Well, here's the game of the Shokaku. I will do more carrier tutorials in the future, live commentaries, and I'm going to try to focus on maybe slowing down a bit and going through more of the detailed nuances of how to commit to an attack room or so on. So yeah, thank you for joining me. Hope you all have a great day.